And now we have Sarala Gopalan, ex-IAS officer, to give her message. And before her message, we'll play a small intro.
Now we welcome Dr. Sarala Gopalan. Dr. Sarala Gopalan, retired IAS, hails from Coimbatore, served as Secretary to the Ministry of HR&D, Government of India. During her distinguished career, she has served in various positions in Kerala and Delhi with the Government of India for 34 years. Thereafter, she has been a consultant to UN organizations on social development issues with special reference to gender issues. Post her retirement, she has been working with several NGOs on various development issues. She has been attending the Buddha CEO Quantum Foundation programs since January 2021 and has been immensely benefited from this. Let's now listen to ex-IAS officer Dr. Sarala Gopalan.
Full of joy to be here today and to listen to Patriji and other very eminent persons who have taught the world to live differently. This message is such a strong message to know that you are the doctor for yourself. You are the master for yourself. I think this is very powerful knowledge because all the time we keep blaming our fate. We keep blaming sometimes our parents as to why they have not given us all the good things that we see many other people have. But today, and in the lessons that we are getting through Patriji and the pyramid movement and the Buddha CEO, we have found that energy that can drive us to make ourselves humane, good, useful persons, healthy, joyous, and spread that joy in a very, very simple manner. Whoever cared for breath? We never thought, it was automatic, it was there. But now we find that it is so important. It is so important not only to live, but to make you understand yourself. So Patriji has, through the Anapanasati mode, said get into this mindful meditation by just concentrating on your breath and then find yourself. Do whatever you want to do. Heal yourself, remove your stress, become active, make others happy, make yourself happy. What I have found in the last 6 months that I have been associated with this process of empowering myself is learning to live very peacefully. My husband felt very bad for me. He said, Sarala, you were such an outgoing person. Now you're locked in. One is the COVID, other is some ailments, and third, from being in a very active kind of life, retire and come to a quiet place like Coimbatore, and then you don't find your roots. You find your roots, but then you can't link with them because each one has gone away in a different direction. So he said, I feel so bad for you that all the things you were enjoying in Delhi, you're missing now. I thought I was missing, but now I don't think I'm missing. I found the joy. It was yourself that you had to find. So once you have found yourself, then you don't miss anything. So you know what you must do, how you can do it. And this process which says you can change your entire molecules. That's what Chandraji was telling us today, that you can change your cells. It is the environment that makes the change. You will it and it happens. It's so simple. But then the most difficult part is to empty your mind. If you can master emptying your mind, you won the world. Because until you can drive away all those thoughts that confuse you, beg you for solutions, and taunt you for doing on that day the many tasks you have to accomplish, you are not able to get into that emptiness. So what I want to understand more is how to quickly get into that mode of emptying your mind. Yes, you have said, yes, watch your breath and get into that emptiness. I'm doing it. And I know very often I slip from that, and some thoughts do crowd my mind. And again, they tell us, okay, go back to your breath. That's what Chandra keeps prompting all the time. Go back to your breath. Go back to your breath. Go back to your breath. And then you'll get back into that feeling of emptiness and energy. But I can say with my experience that if not as well as many other people have achieved, some degree of achievement I have been able to do. And the manifestation process, I think, is it's most important, because that process helps you realize whatever you need. And then it becomes so easy to tell yourself, okay, now don't complain about the pains. Don't stretch yourself, walk around, do this, do that. You're able to manifest. And that comes. So I think I have done a backdoor entry, not by imbibing the quantum energy through getting into the process of complete emptiness and meditation, but I've got the result of it, the manifestation. That's why when they asked me, what will you speak on today? I said, I will speak on manifestation, because that seeped into my, what do I say, my mind, and from my conscious to the unconscious. And now I'm walking like a robot. I'm really, literally walking like a robot. I'm enjoying myself. Everything that was around me look much more beautiful now than they were. I'm able to appreciate people much more than I did before. And that is the kind of change it has brought to me. Of course, ailments are there, medicines are there, doctors are there, and your own self-discipline is there, by which you can improve the quality of your life and your health. And I do know what it is not to have that quality of life, because I have gone to the depth of it. And I've come back from there, and I'm now fully enjoying everything that is. And the process of manifestation through meditation has helped me a very great deal. When I think of that, I think of my many sisters who are all the time in torture and torment. So I was saying this morning in the meeting in Tamil that we have to reach to them, tell them what we know, because they are struggling so much for every piece of grass. And I did my study on fuel wood. And therefore, I went into depth to study how energy is collected for cooking, and how so much of that burden was on the women. They walked 25-30 kilometers. They carried 25-30 kilograms of uh, firewood on their heads. Some of them long trees and poles cut. They would carry that and walk. And after all that, the country blamed them for deforesting. They said, you have cut away all the wood from the forest and taken it for cooking. And therefore, they mounted a big survey. How much wood from the forest has gone to the hearts of these women who are toiling and walking so many miles or kilometers to make food, to cook food for their family. And what they found was very interesting. It was not these poor women who walked to the forests and carried all this fuel, but it was all those big lorries, trees, and took them to big hotels and canteens and brick industry, where it was used to fire their kiln or their cooking processes. And that 11 million tons or whatever was what that survey at that time said. And it was that kind of wood coming out of the forest which has denuded our forest today. And we are fighting back to create that greenery and the forest cover and to restore our climate. A lot of work has got to be done, and we are now understanding how important these trees are and how we have to preserve them. And in that process of studying how women struggle to bring the fuel that is required to make the food for their family, I learned many, many other truths about life, the struggle for life. That whether you're rich or you're poor, you need the same quantity of food to keep your body and soul together. Even if you, at that time when I studied, it was 1986, 87. And even at that time, a family in Kerala, which is the costliest place to live in, lived on just 100 rupees. And those who lived in the periphery of wooded areas, they spent even less because they didn't have to spend on the fuel. But those who lived in coastal areas could not get the wood. They had to buy every bit of wood. And they bought wood from the others who went and collected wood and sold in the evening markets. And then the firewood depots would sell it to them for big value compared to what was their ability to spend at that time. And they spent 30-40% of all their money only on buying that fuel to cook the food. So we have been, or the world has been very unfair to some people, and very patronizing to some others who have been given all the endowments. Therefore, it is so important that we share this knowledge, this way to relieve ourselves of various kinds of burdens by finding solutions. And I learned that by this process of empowerment, you find solutions to solve many, many problems which you never thought you could solve. So there is so much science, technology, research, so much knowledge. But that knowledge has to percolate to every user, everyone who needs to use it. Just now we saw the struggle to get the oxygen to the persons who could not breathe. And that logistics, the oxygen cylinders, you learn so much about how difficult life is made by our own ignorance, disorganization, and unplanned behavior. I'm sure with all the knowledge and power and IT and everything, we could have handled all the problems we have faced in the last 6-8 months much better. We did not do it. Why did not we do it? We need a Patriji. We need an organization that can empower people to do the right thinking. I think that is what we have been talking this whole day on getting into the right thinking. I liked what Patriji was saying today. You just have to, everything is psychosomatic, and you have to move from the wrong to the middle to the right, and he said from the emptiness to the right way of living. And I hope this immense knowledge, the amount of knowledge that we know that exists has to be reached through everybody. And those of us who are able to grasp it have to spend time to share it with others who cannot reach it. Therefore, to bring in that right kind of life, that's what I liked most today. He said, from wrong thinking, no thinking, to right thinking. I think that message, from the wrong thinking we are doing, what are we are doing? We are jealous, we are greedy, we want to amass wealth, we want to win, we wouldn't like somebody else to go above us. We always want to be the first. You always want to get the central chair. You want to get all the honor. All that is wrong thinking. What we need to do is be humane and see how that last person can get the minimum needs he or she needs. I think that kind of right thinking has to come into every one of us. It is not that, we are spreading garbage everywhere. We just want that garbage to go out of our house. And we're not thinking what it's happening. I live in a fairly posh area, a lot of multi-storied buildings. You get onto the road, heaps and heaps and heaps of garbage. So much pollution. And then there is no way of lifting it, taking out, cleaning it, clean the environment for a happy, healthy living. I think in this process of shifting from the wrong thinking mode to the right thinking, there are many, many social ills, incompetence, poor governance that has got to be rectified. I cannot be without bringing in the word governance, having been in government and tried to do some things successfully and some other things not so successfully. I understand how important governance is. And in order to make that governance really good, worthwhile and beneficial to people, we have to motivate them. And we have to make every individual learn to govern at least the environment around him. I'm ashamed to say this with all garbage right outside my door, turn right or left, there is garbage. And helplessly, we also have to go and dump the garbage there because the lorries don't come and pick that up in good time. This is only one instance. We have to throw out all the garbage from our own minds and get into the right thinking mode. And may I pray that leaders like Patriji and other enablers, masters like Chandraji and so many others I'm meeting in all these meetings in the last 6 months that I'm attending, have to take the lead to help many, many of our brothers and sisters to realize this clean and right way of living. Not everybody can become very wealthy, but everybody has to become healthy, and nobody should become unhealthy or sick because of negligence or want of something. There should be no want. Like Bhutan says, their happiness index is very high. I was amazed once when a lady from Bhutan, she said, it was a women's meeting where women from everywhere were complaining about the way they are tortured, their problems. But the lady from Bhutan said, we are very happy. We run down the hill and pick up water and run up the hill and take it. Whereas we are crying, the pots are so heavy. We are getting hernia carrying all the heavy pots with the water. But their attitude was different. They said, we run down the hill to pick the water and bring it up. And let us do things with that kind of joy and spread happiness around. And I like the messages I'm carrying from this Yoga Day celebrations and from the masters like Patriji and the others whom we have listened to today. Thank you very much. I feel so humbled to have been invited to address this group of people today. And thank you very much.
Thank you, Sarala Gopalan Madam, for sharing your message of governance and health and happiness. And thank you, Chandra sir, for bringing Sarala Gopalan Madam to this platform today. Thank you.
Thank you, Madam, for your wonderful message, a broader perspective, how meditation is leading us to become more self-accountable, responsible, and then transforming in tackling the larger problems in the society. Thank you.